having already discussed certitude on the one hand and clarity on the other as two aims that or guidelines that Kant follows upon writing the Critique of Pure Reason, he then discusses how profitable it would be for the reader to collaborate with him, right? To engage with the text in a cooperative spirit. Okay, he says, "quote It can, as it seems to be, be no small inducement for the reader to unite his effort with that of the author when he has the prospect of carrying out, according to the outline given above, a great and important piece of work, and that in a complete and lasting way." Okay, so he then continues, quote, "Now, metaphysics, according to the concepts we will give of it here, is the only one of all the sciences that may promise that little but unified effort, and that indeed in a short time will complete it in such a way that nothing remains to posterity except to adapt it in a didactic manner to its intentions, yet without being able to add to its content in the least." In other words, among all disciplines or topics or fields or subjects, metaphysics is most potent of a collaborative spirit between writer and reader. Why? Because the writer here and the reader are using the same mind, okay? Are using the same mind from which the metaphysical concepts are drawn. Okay? Okay? So, among all subjects, it requires the least amount of effort in the reader, because they do not have to get or draw from other sources inaccessible to them, unavailable to them. They only have to rely on what's already available to them in their own mind, right? Which they share with the writer. Okay? So, that's why you do not have to add anything, right? You, the reader, do not have to add anything to the inquiry except what's already presented, right? Given by the writer, right? Because the writer is simply working out what you could have worked out on your own. At least that's the contention of Kant. Now, one could be critical of his claims here because, for example, from the time of Freud onwards, we discovered that even when we try to be utterly objective, right, in the sense that we only rely on our mental cognitive resources, actually we feed in, right, other motivations for our conclusions into our arguments, right, into our premises, which lead to differences in our conclusions, right? This could include our biases and other subconscious mechanisms that operate underneath, right, those cognitive processes, right? And these biases are socioculturally conditioned, right? They differ from individual to individual, and therefore you cannot expect that even if I have arrived to the same conclusion with the clear aim in mind of relying only on my cognitive apparatus, right? That does not entail that you, when you have the same aim upon embarking upon such task of critiquing pure reason, that you will arrive at the same conclusions. Why? Precisely because my sociocultural my biases, right, which are conditioned by my positionality, meaning by where I am situated in, right, regarding my culture, regarding my background, my point in time, the place and time where I'm in. This condition my thought processes, right? So Kant basically disregards all of that. He thinks that you can arrive at the same conclusions that he arrives at upon writing this text if you use the mind that you have, which you share with him, right? He says, quote, "For it is nothing but..." So, what is it? What is he talking about? He's talking about metaphysics. So he says, quote, For metaphysics is nothing but the inventory of all we possess through pure reason, ordered systematically." So that's it. Metaphysics for Kant is simply uh, the inventory of the inventory of what's already inside our minds, right? uh, that assumes total self transparency, right? That you can actually access all that that are all processes that are going on operating inside your mind, right? That's the assumption of Kant here. He thinks that you're just trying to access what's already inside your mind and then ordering it systematically. Number one question there is that, can you really access everything within your mind, or is Freud correct that there's a subconscious layer that you cannot access consciously, right? Even if you intend to, that sometimes is only accessible through dreams, right? According to Freud. Second, upon trying to order, right, systematically what you have accessed within your mind, are you sure that the way you frame what you've accessed is not conditioned by your biases, right? By your hopes, your expectations, your inclinations, hopes and expectations, dispositions, orientations being themselves socioculturally conditioned and thus differentiated from individual to individual. That's, I think, one of the problems in Kant. He then continues, quote, "Nothing here can escape us, because what reason brings forth entirely out of itself cannot be hidden, but is brought to light by reason itself as soon as reason's common principle has been discovered. The perfect unity of this kind of cognition, and the fact that it arises solely out of pure concepts, without any influence that would extend or increase it from experience, or even particular intuition, which would lead to a determinate experience, make this unconditioned completeness not only feasible, but also necessary. Tecum habita et noris quam sit tibi curtas supplex." By Persius, he says, the translation here is, quote, "Dwell in your own house, and you will know how simple your possessions are." So basically, the assumption here is because you should be familiar with your own mind, because that's your own mind, right? But Kant maybe has not yet ventured into the unknown within us, right? That's the contribution of Freud. No matter how brilliant Kant is, maybe he missed this important point, right? He needs to know something more, right? That pure reason is never pure. It is always entangled with idiosyncratic biases, right? That condition our search for truth.